Hello students, myself Dr. Veena Singh. I am before you from Pradhan Mantri College of Excellence, Rajiv Gandhi PG College, Mandsaur. And I am presenting before you a lecture on Sister of My Heart as a diasporic novel by Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni. Let's see what is inside for you. Dear students, what will be your takeaway from this lecture? Let's see. This lecture will provide an objective summary of the text. The Sister of My Heart is divided into 42 chapters. So, here you will get a summary, learn about major themes in diaspora. As this novel is a diasporic novel, we will see how many diasporic themes are dealt in this novel. We will learn about the writer herself, Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni, and lastly, we will learn about the diasporic elements present in the novel Sister of My Heart. Here, I am showing you an image of diaspora. A person is living in his country and waving goodbye to a person moving outside the borders of the country. So, this picture gives you a little peep into what diaspora is. As now you know the meaning of diaspora, let us try to understand what is Indian diaspora. What is Indian diaspora? And you might be wondering about the word Indian. Yes, let me tell you here that there are many diasporas, students. There are Sri Lankan diaspora, Pakistani diaspora, that means it comes in South Asian diaspora, American diaspora, and many others. But as our novel, as our study belongs to Indian diaspora, it is an Indian diasporic novel, we will try to understand what is Indian diaspora. Indian diaspora is a term used for addressing people who have migrated from their territories, who have crossed their borders, who have gone abroad for livelihood, of course, for career, for studies, and they have chosen that we will live in some other country. And here, two terms are very important. One is NRI and second is PIOs. NRIs are people who are from Indian origin and they live in some other country, but they have their roots in India. They have Indian citizenship and they keep on coming to India and they have a close connection with their own country. But when we talk about PIOs, it is that they are their ancestors, their forefathers that might have, those generations might have belonged to India, but these PIOs are now, they are persons of Indian origins but not living in India and not having any close connection with their Indian roots. And you will wonder more if I tell you that Indian diaspora is estimated over 30 millions. Now, if we focus and if we try to understand the history of Indian diaspora, the Indian diaspora has grown manifold since the very first batch of Indian who were taken as गिरमिटियाज to other countries as laborers. हमारे देश के लोगों को मजदूरों के रूप में जब दूसरे देश ले जाया गया, वे गिरमिटिया कहलाए और यही शुरुआत थी हमारे इंडियन लोगों के दूसरी कंट्री में माइग्रेट करने के लिए. This was the very starting. So, the Girmitiyas, these were the very first people to migrate and start Indian diaspora and have a very inseparable connection with our diasporic history. It developed gradually during the 19th and 20th century. Now, these were the laborers. But these were very well educated, very well established people who chose to be authors and workers and working professionals abroad. So, this is the history of Indian diaspora. Let us move further. Now, this picture is important in a way that it gives you a close peep into how the diasporic community is spread all over the world, all over the globe. You can see the footprints of our Indian people, people from Indian origin working abroad, living and writing abroad and creating beautiful pieces of literature abroad. Now, what are the themes that are dwelt in diaspora? What is dealt here? Let's see. If you migrate, which is the very first quality of diaspora. If you migrate, it is very much believed that you will get a new company, you will get a new social circle. But what will happen? You feel alienated. What is alienation? Here I would like to explain more that alienation is a term which is used for people who are in a company, who are in a social circle, but they feel very lonely in that company, because they are not lonely, as they are rootless now, as they are out of their country now, they feel alienated, they feel alone. So migration has a very close connection with alienation and rootlessness, as you can see. Now when you move from your Indian origin to abroad, India is a very traditional country, and what happens here, we go with traditions, and when you move abroad, there is a question, there is a new world, there is a new status, there is a new society and new traditions you will have to follow. So what happens? A clash comes there. What is the clash? The clash is between your tradition and the modern world you have gone in. Then nostalgia. Suppose you go to hostel, wouldn't you miss your family? Wouldn't you miss your childhood? Wouldn't you miss your home and your room? Yes. Similarly, when you move to some other country, you become nostalgic about everything possible which you have left in your country. And then comes a very big question, that is quest for identity. What is quest for identity? In my country, in my society, in my neighborhood, in my school, in my college, many people know me. But what happens when you move to some other country? You will have to create a new identity of your own. And when you create a new identity of your own, there are many struggles in your mind. There are many psychological struggles in your mind which you have to deal with. You have to create a new identity of your own, and it may be possible that you are not happy with that and you are continuously in search, in quest for a new identity in a diasporic world. Existential crisis. How would you feel among new people? This will lead to existential crisis and displacement. As you are not at your place, you are displaced. Multiculturalism, you are going abroad. Similarly, people of other countries are also going abroad. And when you meet people of many other cultures in a diasporic world, in a new country, you lead to understand multiculturalism. So now you have understood diaspora, Indian diaspora, and major themes in diaspora. Let us try to understand what are the diasporic writings around us and what are their characteristics. Diasporic writings is based on the works of authors who are living outside their native land. That means I am a citizen of India. I chose to live abroad in some other country which is not mine, and I started writing there. It is based on the idea of a homeland, obviously, because when you go abroad, you create a homeland of your own, and as well as you start missing your own homeland. So the very idea of diasporic writing move around homeland. It is all about belongingness and quest for identity in a new place. Yes, in a new place, nobody knows us, nobody adores us, and nobody identifies us. So we have to create a new identity of our own so that we can make our place in that new world. And it is sometimes based on the author's own experience. Yes, many of our authors are seen going to some other country for some other reason, and they have experienced many things in that particular new society and they started writing about it. So these are the characteristic features of diasporic writings. These are the major diasporic writers. Let us see who are there on the screen. Jhumpa Lahiri, Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni, Amitav Ghosh, V.S. Naipaul, Arvind Adiga, Bharti Mukherjee, Shashi Deshpande and Kamla Markande. So there will be a question now in your minds. Are there only these diasporic writers who could be called Indian diasporic writers? No, dear students, there are many others. But these diasporic writers are there they are in the syllabus. So we are dealing with this. All of these are in your course in this paper for BA final year. And we have chosen Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni from unit number 3, writer number 1. So we have understood many things now. Let us try to evaluate ourselves by asking ourselves some questions. What is diaspora? What is Indian diaspora? What are the major themes in Indian diaspora and what are the major Indian diasporic authors? Here, after that much of explanation, I think I am able to make a connection between you and the diasporic background of our country. Now you can answer this question and we can move further to the study of our novel. So let us move to part B now, students, and you can see here is a picture of our author Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni. She lives in America and writes about our Indian origin and our Indian roots. This is the novel we are talking about in this particular lecture, Sister of My Heart. Let us have a brief introduction of the author. As you can see in the picture, Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni, and her original name is Chitralekha Banerjee and she was born in 1956. She lives in America and she used to teach creative writing in the University of Houston. Okay. So there are many short story collections of her, of which Arranged Marriage was very much famous, and Sister of My Heart and Mistress of Spices are the novels on which 2 movies had been made. Sister of My Heart, what is this novel about? Let us try to understand. Sister of My Heart is a novel by Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni and it was written in the year 1999. After this novel became very popular, containing 42 chapters, it was followed by Wine of Desire, which was written in the year 2002. So, Sister of My Heart and Wine of Desire are the 2 novels whose themes are very much connected. The story centers around 2 Indian girls. This novel is about Anju and Sudha. The girls, means Anju and Sudha, narrate their life stories in alternating chapters. And I told you earlier also that there are 42 chapters in the novel which completes it. And the book follows Sudha and Anju through their childhood. These 2 girls are very distant cousins. They live in the same family and they are sister of hearts. They are very closely connections. Normally we don't see such close connection in cousins, but in novel they are sharing a very heartfelt bond. Their adolescence and early adulthood is described in the novel, and although some of the characters immigrate to United States, most of the story takes place in India. In US, Anju moves to San Francisco, we see later in the novel, and Sudha remains in India for a longer time. Then in the sequel, The Wine of the Desire, she joins Anju in US. Sister of My Heart is the story of Anju and Sudha. They are living in a matriarchal family because their fathers have died on the day of their birth, and Nalini and Gauri, their mothers, and their Pishima, in Hindi we call her Buaji. These 3 ladies takes care of them. We see in the novel that their fathers have died mysteriously and violently. There is no story known about their death, and these girls have a tragic fate that they are completely dependent on their society to take decisions about them, because there is no father figure to lead their family. After some time, Sudha meets Ashok. She wants to marry him, but her mother denies because Ashok belongs to a poor social status. Later on, we see that the girls fall into the trap of arranged marriage, and Sudha marries Ramesh with her mother's consent, of course, and Anju marries to Sunil. But as the novel progresses, we find that Anju's husband Sunil is in love with Sudha secretly, and Anju somehow knows about it, and she tries to ignore it, but there is something which starts bothering her heart. Although there is no possible reason that she can stop loving Sudha, because they are sister of hearts. They are very closely connected, and nothing in this world exists which can break their bond for each other. Then when Sudha marries to Ramesh, her mother-in-law says that there is no place for a girl child in the family, and she is in a fear, leaves her husband's home and goes to her mother's place, and when she returns to her husband's place, he divorces her. In this case, Anju, who is also pregnant, wants to help her. She starts doing an alternate job in pregnancy to support her sister Sudha, which his husband Sunil doesn't like, because he wants his wife to take proper rest for a good pregnancy time and deliver a very healthy baby. But somehow Anju faces miscarriage and is not able to deliver a healthy baby, which disheartens both Anju and Sunil. Meanwhile, Sudha is divorced now and trying to find solace somewhere. Ashok meets him again and again, and he wants to marry her but doesn't want to adopt her child, which is named Daita. Now, here Anju again shows her sisterhood to her sister Sudha and invites her to her place San Francisco and arranges for it. See how the relationship chart goes for our novel? This is Chatterjee family tree to which both the girls belong. Gorima and Bijoy. Gorima and Bijoy are the father of Anju, who is married to Sunil. Pishima is their father's sister, and Nalini and Gopal are the parents of Sudha, who is later on seen married to Ramesh. The family tree is very complicated, because from the day the girls are born, they have not seen their father's faces. Someone asks them about their father and they are very speechless. One day at the age of 13, when Sudha asks her Pishima to tell her about her father, then she tells the dirty secret of the family that Gopal is not of Chatterjee lineage. He told lies to be the part of this family and persuaded somehow Bijoy to go on the search of Ruby. That was the day of the delivery of their mothers Gauri and Nalini, but their fathers decided to go on that Ruby hunt, which was very unfortunate, and they couldn't come back then later. The family tree becomes very complicated because their fathers have disappeared, and later on we see that the father of Sudha, Gopal, becomes their driver and adopts a name Singhji and gives her a ruby as a gift and a envelope of a large amount to help her in her marriage. Now, if we talk about the settings, as we are discussing Sister of My Heart as an Indian diasporic novel, so in India, the story takes place in Calcutta. And when We see the second setting, the second part of the novel, it takes place in US, where Anju has gone with her husband Sunil. Major characters of these novels are Anju and Sudha, of course, because the entire story revolves around them. This novel is the story of the sisterhood of Anju and Sudha, and this novel is about love, loss, arranged marriage, and the trauma one feels in a patriarchal society and raised by three mothers, Nalini, Gauri, and Pishima. Major characters are Anjali, who is called Anju in the novel, Basudha, who is called Sudha in the novel, and Ashok Ghosh, who wants to marry Sudha, comes to Sudha again and again, but he is a coward. He wants to have Sudha as his wife, but doesn't want to support her daughter Daita. So, Anju belongs to a higher caste. Sudha belongs to a lower caste. But Sudha's father tells lies to be the part of the Chatterjee lineage. Minor characters are Gopal and Gauri, Sudha's father and Anju's mother. They are a very integral part of the story, but they are very minor characters. Nalini and Pishima are also very important because of their contribution to our protagonist's life. Now, symbols are very strong in this novel. See what will happen if you go to some other country. What will be the first thing you will miss there? It is the food of the country. And if we miss the food of the country, it means we will talk about and try to recreate the same recipes which our mother used to feed us when we were here. Similarly, food plays a very multifaceted symbol in the novel because it is often represent the nature and quality of the character's relationship. Quite a lot of time we find Anju saying about Ma Cher Jhol and Mishti Doi, which were the cultural symbols of Calcutta, and we see that whatever happens to the characters, howsoever rich they become after moving to abroad, one cannot stop missing the food, the staple food of his own country. Then drying mangoes. Drying mangoes, we find Pishima saying to Sudha that when you are menstruating, when you are in periods, don't touch the pickle of mango because it will get spoiled. These are some Indian customs which are the symbols of Indianism in the novel. And ruby caves. Ruby caves plays a very important role. As Sudha's father want to become rich overnight, he comes in contact with some people who are in hunt of ruby and he wants to search ruby with them. He gets a ruby, but unfortunately he couldn't save his brother. He died at the same spot, and we find this search of ruby becomes very unfortunate for the family as both the girls lose their parents, their fathers especially in that incident. Now, as we have studied the complete novel, we have gone through everything like what is diaspora, what is Indian diaspora, what are the characteristics, features of Indian diaspora, what kind of a novel it is, what is the story, how is the setting, who are the characters, and what were the symbols. Now, let us try to understand and critically gather the pieces together and try to understand what is our takeaway from this novel. Let us start. The novel was written in 1999 and it was followed by a sequel, The Vine of Desire, in 2002. It was very interesting to know that this novel was adapted in Tamil television series and the name was Anubula Snegitiye. The novel is the story of two cousins, Anju and Sudha, we know. Sudha is of lower caste. Anju belongs to the upper caste. Despite their differences in birth, family background and looking, Sudha was very beautiful. Anju was a very simple looking girl, but nothing could break their bond. So this novel talks about the close bond between Anju and Sudha. The novel explored the struggles of immigrants. We see after the marriage of Anju and Sunil that Sunil soon after the marriage leaves for US and Anju wanting to join him puts all the effort to get visa and passport and to go there. When they go there together and face the struggle of immigrants there, how they are looked upon by other people of that country, what kind of jobs they are doing, what kind of odd shifts they are doing, and we see that they are struggling with their food habits as well. It is not about earning money and getting rich when you go to some other country. It is also about adjusting to a new culture. It is also about your quest for identity. It is also about carving your own identity, creating your own identity, and becoming successful doesn't mean everything, because there are many things you miss in a new country and your staple food is one of them. Nostalgia is one of them. You miss your country, you get alienated, you get troubled by every possible thing, and how you survive is the story we see here. Quest for identity is the main feature of diaspora writing which is present in the novel. Sister of My Heart says the story of Anju and Sudha, giving us the courageous side of those girls, and the extension of that thought we see in the next novel, The Wine of Desire. So these are the key features of this novel. The novel is divided into 42 chapters and 2 parts. Arranged marriage, patriarchal society and dynamics of joint families are various themes in the novels. Sudha wanted to marry Ashok because she loved him, but the family is against them because Ashok belongs to a poor middle class family. Now, Sudha is forced to marry Ramesh. Soon after the marriage, she finds that the family is very patriarchal, not very supportive, and when she gets pregnant, she comes to know that it is a girl child and she is forced to abort that child. When she opposes and she moves to her family, when she comes back, she is divorced. So, this kind of patriarchal society we are living in, female are lagging behind still today. This is shown very much fairly in the novel. And what are the dynamics of joint family? Chatterjee lineage was very important and very powerful in Calcutta at that time. And Gopal, telling lies, wanted to join that lineage, and he tells lies after lies and becomes a part of that family, and which leads to the doom of that family, and he and Sudha's father dies in that. That was very bad on his part. So, in the Indian system, we find that in joint family, everyone has to be there for everyone, whether he is good or bad. Indian culture is described in detail with many references to Bengali myths and the stories of God. When Sudha and Anju were kids, we see Pishima telling them various stories about the child's birth, such as when a child takes birth, gods come from the sky and help them taking birth. If it is a boy, we have to keep food near the crib, and if it is a girl, demons come to that family. It was again a patriarchal thinking. It was again what was going on in that time of Indian society, and the stories of God were told to those girls. So, these are the glimpses of Indian tradition that we see in the novel. Diaspora makes people create their own identity, work on their own transformation. How one person has to change in diasporic conditions, how one person has to transform himself or herself according to the pressure around, how he has to feel that displacement, disillusionment, and some kind of sadness, alienation we can say in diasporic condition, which is very much inevitable. None in diaspora can escape that. The novel explores the struggle of immigrants. We know that when you move to other countries, there are cultural differences, multiculturalism, quest for identity, displacement, diasporic elements, experiences, and a kind of alienation hovers over, and characters are forced to make a new identity for their own. The novel also depicts women friendship in the characters of Nalini, Gauri, and Pishima. When both the father dies, what happens? Only Nalini and Gauri and Pishima are left to take care of Anju and Sudha. So, we see that the women are supporting each other and they are carrying the family legacy forward without being interrupted by the outer world. Marital life trauma, motherhood and divorce and widowhood are some of the problems discussed in the novel. Yes, motherhood was a problem for Anju because she faces miscarriages, and Sudha because she is divorced because she was going to give birth to a girl child. That was the problem discussed in the novel. Marital life. We see that Sudha couldn't marry Ashok. We see that the husband of Anju, Sunil, is very much attracted to Sudha. So, these were the marital life problems which are discussed in the novel. Divorce. When Sudha is divorced, her life is devastated and she has no clue where to go, what to do with a girl, Daita, with her. Thus, we see that Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni has brought in light the various elements of Indian diasporic writings. Dear students, what I feel personally is that diasporic experiences were an integral and inseparable part of the psyche of our Indian diasporic writers. They themselves have faced all the troubles and worries and struggles and conflicts of being an immigrant in a new society, in a new circle, in a new country. They go abroad for good perks, good careers, good studies, but what they get? They get the disillusionment, they get the displacement, they get the sadness, the alienation, the loneliness, and sometimes if they are not successful in that society, that adds to their trauma and troubles. So, we see that this novel, Sister of My Heart, is very much successful as an Indian diasporic novel, and this entire discussion today with this presentation I feel might help you in understanding and having a rather deeper understanding of the novel and what kind of novel Indian diasporic novel is, and especially as a woman I feel that Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni as a woman writer has successfully depicted the psyche of women in the novel, whether it be Sudha and Anju or Nalini or Gauri or Pishima, or if it is the mother-in-law of Sudha, we see that her deeper understanding of the Indian society, her deeper understanding of the patriarchal society system helps her to depict every character very elaborately and make the novel a great success. Now, what is there in the novel which could be connected with the Indian diasporic novel's characteristics? Cultural identity. Yes, if our characters talk about food, if our characters migrate to some other country, they will take away their culture with them. They cannot be separated with their culture, their traditions, their customs, and might be some taboos. Quest for identity is an integral part of Indian diaspora, and I have already discussed it, that in a new place you are known to nobody and you have to become a new person, you have to carve, you have to create a new identity of your own. And you have to create a new identity which is very important. Then alienation. In a new country, might be you are surrounded with many people, but the loneliness will keep you very much sad because you are with people but you are not with your own people. Self transformation, yes, after some time abroad, self transformation is very important and very integral because this is the result of diaspora. This is the result of moving abroad. This is the result of creating a new identity. This is the result of quest for identity. And when you have a new identity, you are likely to have a transformed personality. Displacement. Displacement is a part of this novel because we find many characters moving abroad, many characters having the experience of displacement like Anju, Sudha and Sunil. Disillusionment. Disillusionment is a part of this novel because we find the true colors of every person coming out and people are having their own real time experience. Influences of diaspora in one's identity. Yes, whatever identity I have in my country, I can't have the same in some other country, and when I go abroad, I am likely to have the influences around. I will meet people. I will adopt their culture. I will adopt their way of speaking, their food, everything. And it is very much integral part of diaspora that we are influenced and we carve our own identity under those influences. So here goes the explanation, and these are the questions for this novel which you have to answer. Analyze Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni as a novelist. And what kind of a novelist Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni is? She is Indian diasporic writer. Analyze the diasporic experience in Sister of My Heart. Yes, in the second last slide, I explained the same. Draw a character sketch of Anju from Sister of My Heart. Anju's character plays a pivotal role in the development of the novel, in the development of the story. And of course, similarly, Sudha's character plays a very pivotal role in the novel. And these are the two main characters without which we cannot imagine this novel. And I hope I have made things clear to you. I tried to make my best effort to make this novel very much understood to you, and these are the main questions you have to prepare for this novel. Thank you so much for a patient listening and giving me your precious time. Thank you so much.